Hello everyone, today I want to talk about the Warlock, and especially about Warlock in PvP. I hear a lot of people say that Fury is the way to go to do if you want to do damage, and that's mainly based on this feat, the last one. It says that when you hit a necrotic spell on a cursed target, you will do 100% of that damage over time. That that sounds really amazing, but people have to keep in mind that a lot of the spells are fire based, and the ones that are necrotic are mainly uh, very low, uh, very low on damage. There are some exceptions in that, like Dread Theft, but Dread Theft has one big problem: it consumes a curse. When a curse is consumed, the whole effect will not apply all the hits after the first one. It does work very well, I have to say, on Warlock's Bargain, Shadows and Blades. But um, yeah, you have to keep in mind that Blades is a melee, and they all um, do not really have a very high damage. So yeah, that's something you have to keep in mind. On the other side, since they are all three of them are dots, the dots will stack up and keep creating more and more and more dots. That's really amazing about it. I run on the Damnation, and there are a couple of feats that I really like about it. This one, it makes me very tanky when I have a Soul Puppet active. Then I've got this one, it gives me 10% more damage. I love it. It's just amazing. With this feat, I get a Soul Puppet every time I cast a spell, so I don't have to worry about killing someone first to get the Soul Puppet up. And then I like this one as well. When my Soul Puppet hits someone, I get a chance to proc a lesser curse on the target. When the lesser curse is on the target, my glyphs that I mostly run with will proc on it as well. So since a lesser curse is a dot, it will proc on every tick my glyphs and do an extra 600 damage, something like that. Really amazing. Beside that, the rest of the feats are not that impressive actually. It's more, every feat tree is more about the last feat that you actually work for than something else. Also a big thing, I see a lot of people use Killing Flames in PvP, especially at low levels, and there is one big problem with it. It's a really strong spell, I know it, but you have to bring someone on low hit points first. And if you have a tanky weapon fighter in front of you, you never get at that point, and you will always have an encounter sitting there in a slot off cooldown doing nothing. That's something you don't want. This one, it's really amazing if you want to hunt down stealth tricksters. It automatically fires at them. Also have a big chance to apply a lesser curse, and the dot will go on. And every time you hit them, you will chop a piece away from their stealth bar, and they will mess it up eventually. And from there on, you can just take it over with other spells because he's out of stealth. This one should heal you and give you temporary hit points, but with healing depression, it's not really worth it in my opinion. Dread Theft is really strong, gives you also some more damage resistance. So you can just stand in the middle of everything, fire your beam at the enemy party, and with some glyphs, you just do insane amount of damage through the whole enemy party. And if you are in a low versus a low bracket or so, you can wipe whole parties with it. Fiery Bolt, pretty nice burst damage, but bad thing about it, it has a very slow casting time, and if you're like a kind of a button spammer, then 9 out of 10 times it doesn't really fire. Curse Bite, yeah, You have to curse the target first before it works, and it does not do insane amounts of damage. I'm not really big fan of it. Pillar of Power, don't use it in PvP. It's no, just no. Horror Storm is really nice if you put it on someone and then put a curse on that target again. Then he will not be knocked up in the air and be prone for a little while. It's really nice. Downside of it, also a really long casting time to get it up. Warlock's Borgain, really amazing, especially versus tricksters. Every time they hit you, you hit them back. With glyphs on top of that, you will do more damage back to them than they do to you, most of the time. And it's also a dot and a necrotic spell, so it takes away quite hard. Shadows, pretty nice. The second effect of it is not really worth it, especially not in PvP. When you activate it for the second time, it will root your target and stop the dot. And the root is not even half a second or so, so yeah, it's not really worth to use it for the second effect. But since it is necrotic, and if you are a fury, it's pretty nice. It takes away quite hard, stacks up, and every time, it's like a split. You have to see it like this. You hit with the first tick of the dot, you create a new dot. You have to hit with the second tick of the dot, you create a new dot. And every time you get more and more dots, and if you run with something like red dragon glyphs, all those dots will proc the red dragon glyphs again, and it will end up in insane huge ass numbers. Blades of Vanquish Army, yeah, it's nice, especially if you have to deal with something like a trickster that wants to get near you, or if you want to charge into an enemy party, it can also be handy. It's a ring of blades around you. It's like a little bit like Path of Blades from the trickster. And then also necrotic and also kind of a dot spell. It does not consume curse. So these three do not consume curses are really handy with the Fury build. At wills, yeah, the blast not that amazing, since the third hit is the best part of it, and it's an AoE, but in PvP everyone is split up, so you don't really get the full effect of the third hit. Aura, I personally like to use it. When you get a couple of auras around you, and someone tries to run away from you to a health pot, you can fire a quite strong blast at them to finish them off. And very handy. It's just strong, necrotic, nothing bad about it. And in melee it attacks faster and applies a debuff. Well, it's more negative effect actually. It takes away a little bit of the damage output from your target. It's really nice. Yeah, Hellfires. Yeah, it's nice. I don't really use it lately, but it's nice for tricksters and stuff. It's a dot, and it refreshes all the time when they hit you. But if you're facing something like a Guardian fighter that uses Supremacy of Steel, you kill yourself with it. You cannot stop it yourself or whatsoever though, it just goes. Then the dailies. This daily would spawn some bats. It roots someone in place for a very short period of time and does little damage. Can be handy, but not that strong. This is just a minor heal, not really worth in PvP. This skull, it summons a huge skull above someone. It follows them if they go in stealth. It's just a face melter, literally. It's amazing, especially with red dragon glyphs. Tyranny Thread, that's more a PvE skill, and especially with the last current changes on top of it, it's not really worth to use it in PvP, maybe in Contogrim. Gates of Hell, yeah, not in PvP. About the feats, Shadow Walk is pretty nice, makes you really fast. You can chase people on fast mounts with it. It's really handy, especially if you go for Temptation with, I think it was this one, yeah, 5% stamina when you take damage. If someone puts a small bleed on you or fire damage from a plague fire or something like that, you can move through the whole map really fast. It's amazing. That curse, not an amazing haul in PvP. No pain, no mercy. I personally really like it. It's just an extra little bit of damage. And this one is, in my case, in my opinion, actually a must. It makes you so much stronger versus tanky classes. Prince of Hell, amazing. Another option, I don't have it right now, but I have tried it a couple of times. I just don't use your daily and get extra damage from instead of it. And if you go for this feat, you'll do an extra 5% on top of that. It makes you really powerful. And since your dailies are not that great in PvP, it's maybe the way to go. So I think I've covered all the powers. Feats, yeah, Temptation is the last thing I didn't discuss really. The extra 200% lifesteal to your party is nice. Have to keep in mind in PvP that's not a lot. It's really not a lot. And the other feats, yeah, this one is maybe the best one in the whole tree. 5% stamina. When you get hit by a weapon fighter or so with a plague fire, you can just move with that speed feat, the Shadow Walk. You can move to the other side of the map in no time. Beside that, you have two other things that are interesting. 5% less damage when you put that fire at will on someone. And let me see, where is it? Yep, 10% less damage when someone gets hit by Blade of Vanquish Army. That's also pretty nice. Makes you more tanky, but on the other side, more DPS and more tankiness. It sounds more interesting to me, or just double damage, especially with glyphs. Amazing. So I hope this is a little bit of use of you guys. Before I go, I want to talk about one more thing. I transmuted it, but I'm running with Purified Black Eyes. And together with a Bark Shield on top of that, I have to say, this combination makes you really tanky and makes your survivability go skyrocketing. Never go for Corrupted. The little bit of power is not really worth it. Just go for Purified and you will be a monstrous tank in PvP. So, thank you guys for watching and see you guys soon again in another video.